What if your life doesn't change because you start every day unconsciously? Before the world speaks to you, your mind is already answering. That is where most people lose control without noticing. Most mornings begin in reaction. Notifications, worries, expectations, unfinished problems from yesterday all rush in before you have chosen who you will be today. By the time the day truly starts, your attention has already been divided, your emotions pulled outward, your direction blurred. The Stoics understood something uncomfortable but liberating. Marcus Aurelius prepared his mind at dawn, not to feel good, but to be ready. He expected difficulty, disrespect, delay, and frustration, and by expecting them, he removed their power. If you don't command your mind first, life will command it for you. This video reveals one Stoic habit that changes your life not through motivation, but through order. It takes only minutes, yet it reshapes how you respond, decide, and endure. Practiced daily, the shift feels immediate because you stop breaking. Stay with me and learn how to take your mind back tomorrow. Part 1. Why most people never truly change. Most people are not stuck because they are weak, lazy, or incapable. They are stuck because they live in reaction mode, drifting from one moment to the next without ever fully taking command of themselves. They wake up already behind, already tense, already responding to a world that has not waited for their consent. Before they have chosen who they will be today, the day has been chosen for them. From the very first minutes of the morning, attention is pulled outward. Messages arrive. Responsibilities press in. Unfinished worries from yesterday resurface without warning. Nothing catastrophic happens, yet something essential is lost quietly and consistently. Authority over the self. When your days begin in reaction, your mind slowly learns a dangerous lesson that life controls you, not the other way around. Comfort feels harmless, even deserved, but over time it erodes direction. Routine without awareness becomes invisible chains, not because it is painful, but because it is familiar. Distraction then fills the empty space where purpose should live. You scroll, you stay busy, you keep moving, and from the outside it looks like progress. Inside, however, something feels scattered, unfocused, and strangely heavy. Modern life rewards speed, not clarity. You are praised for responding quickly, multitasking efficiently, and staying available at all times. Yet this constant motion comes at a cost. Without a deliberate starting point, your energy leaks into everything except what actually matters. Exhaustion becomes normal. Confusion becomes routine. And eventually, you forget what intentional living even feels like. Most people believe change begins with motivation. They wait to feel inspired, confident, or ready. The Stoics never waited for that feeling. They understood that motivation is unstable. It rises when life is easy and disappears the moment resistance appears. Discipline, on the other hand, is not emotional. It is a choice made before emotion takes over. If you wait to feel ready, you will wait forever. Real change starts when action leads and feelings follow, not the other way around. This is why so much knowledge becomes useless. You already know what to do. You have heard the advice, learned the principles, and understood the logic. But knowledge without command turns into guilt, not growth. Every morning, your mind asks a silent question: who is in control today? If you do not answer it deliberately, the world answers for you. Other people's urgency becomes your priority. Other people's chaos becomes your emotional climate. Over time, you lose trust in yourself, not because you failed, but because you never truly chose. The Stoics saw this as the root of inner slavery. Not chains, not poverty, but unconsciously living. Epictetus warned that people are disturbed not by events, but by the judgments they make about them. Yet most people never pause long enough to examine those judgments. They move from stimulus to reaction without space, without reflection, without power. Change does not require a dramatic breakthrough. It requires a deliberate beginning. When you control how the day starts, you change how everything else unfolds. This is why Stoic discipline begins in the morning. Not because mornings are magical, but because the first decision sets the tone for every decision that follows. Until you master that moment, nothing truly changes. Once you do, everything begins to shift. Part 2. The Stoic habit that puts you back in control. The Stoic habit is simple, but it is not soft. It is the act of commanding your mind before the world has a chance to command it for you. This habit happens in silence, before the phone lights up, before opinions rush in, before the noise of the day takes over. It is the moment you decide who you will be, instead of negotiating that decision all day long. Most people let their mornings shape them. Stoics shape the morning. That difference changes everything. Marcus Aurelius did not wake up hoping the day would be kind. He woke up prepared for it to be difficult. In his private writings, he reminded himself that he would meet selfish people, ungrateful people, and frustrating delays. This was not pessimism. It was training. By expecting resistance, he removed its shock. By naming reality, he reclaimed control. This habit is not positive thinking. It is not pretending everything will go well. It is a mental command. You acknowledge what you cannot control, so it stops draining your energy. You identify what you can control, so your effort has direction. Then you choose the kind of person you will be, regardless of what the day brings. Most suffering comes from false expectations. You expect people to behave fairly. You expect plans to unfold smoothly. You expect effort to be rewarded immediately. When those expectations collapse, frustration takes over. The Stoic habit dismantles this trap before it forms. It replaces hope with readiness and replaces anxiety with clarity. Commanding your mind does not take long, but it takes honesty. You tell yourself that difficulty is normal. You accept that discomfort will appear. You remind yourself that your character matters more than your comfort. This single moment reframes the entire day because you stop being surprised by reality. Without this habit, your mind stays reactive. Every interruption feels personal. Every delay feels unfair. Every challenge feels heavier than it needs to be. With this habit, you move through the same events differently. You respond instead of react. You choose instead of drift. You endure without breaking. This is why the change feels immediate. Not because life suddenly improves, but because your inner posture changes. You stop wasting energy fighting what was always inevitable. You stop begging circumstances to be easier. You stand where you are and decide how you will act. The Stoics believed freedom begins internally. Epictetus taught that while you cannot control events, you always control your judgments, your actions, and your values. The morning command is how you reclaim that truth daily. It is a reminder that your mind is not public property. This habit does not remove struggle. It gives struggle meaning. It turns obstacles into training and frustration into feedback. Over time, your confidence grows, not because you avoid hardship, but because you trust yourself to meet it. When you command your mind each morning, you stop asking life for permission. You stop waiting to feel ready. You begin the day grounded, centered, and deliberate. That is where real control starts. Part 3. What you say to yourself. Each morning. The way you speak to yourself in the first moments of the day quietly shapes everything that follows. Not with dramatic speeches or emotional hype, but with calm, deliberate statements that set your inner posture. Stoics understood that the mind listens most closely before it is distracted, before it is defensive, before it is pulled in 100 directions. This is not about repeating empty affirmations. It is about telling the truth clearly and without negotiation. The first truth you must speak is what is not in your control. Today, people may misunderstand you. Plans may fall apart, effort may go unnoticed, outcomes may disappoint. By naming these possibilities early, you stop arguing with reality later. You remove the illusion that life owes you smoothness, and in doing so, you remove a massive source of frustration. The second truth is what remains fully yours: your actions, your attention, your response, your values. No matter how chaotic the day becomes, these things remain untouched unless you surrender them. This reminder restores dignity. It shifts your focus away from helplessness and back toward agency, where real strength lives. Most people skip this step and spend the day trying to control what was never theirs. That is why they feel exhausted by noon. The third truth is the most important. You choose the kind of person you will be today, not the mood you will have, but the character you will act from. Will you choose patience when irritation appears? Will you choose discipline when comfort tempts you? Will you choose integrity when cutting corners seems easier? This decision anchors you before temptation arrives. When these three truths are spoken deliberately, the day feels different immediately. Challenges no longer feel like ambushes. They feel expected. Emotions still arise, but they no longer dictate your behavior. You stop being dragged by the moment and start standing inside it. This practice works because it aligns expectation with reality. Most emotional suffering comes from the gap between what you expected and what actually happened. Stoicism closes that gap at the start of the day. You do not demand ease, you prepare for resistance, and preparation is power. Seneca believed that rehearsing adversity in advance weakened its grip. By imagining difficulty calmly, you rob it of its ability to shock you later. The mind that expects friction does not panic when it appears. It adjusts. Speaking these truths each morning also builds self-trust. You begin to see yourself as someone who decides, not someone who reacts. Over time, this compounds. Small acts of alignment turn into identity. You're no longer trying to become disciplined. You're acting as someone who is. Without this habit, mornings feel rushed and unfocused. With it, they feel grounded and intentional. The world does not change, but your relationship to it does. You stop chasing emotional stability and start practicing inner order. This is not about controlling your feelings. It is about leading them. When your mind hears clarity first, it follows clarity all day. And slowly, quietly, your life begins to move in a new direction. Part 4. Why this habit feels like an overnight shift. The change feels sudden, not because your life transforms overnight, but because your inner resistance disappears almost immediately. Most exhaustion does not come from doing too much. It comes from fighting reality all day long. When you begin the morning prepared, you stop wasting energy on that invisible war. Before this habit, your mind wakes up unarmed. Every interruption feels personal. Every delay feels unfair. Every challenge feels heavier than it needs to be. You're not reacting to the event itself, but to the shock of it. The Stoic habit removes that shock. When difficulty arrives, your mind recognizes it instead of panicking. This is why the shift feels immediate. Your nervous system relaxes because it is no longer surprised. Most people confuse peace with comfort. Stoics never did. Peace, to them, was alignment. When your expectations match reality, tension dissolves. You're no longer asking the day to be gentle. You're asking yourself to be steady. That single change alters how every experience lands inside you. There is a quiet confidence that comes from expecting resistance and meeting it anyway. You stop taking setbacks as signs of failure and start seeing them as part of the terrain. Nothing feels personal anymore. Nothing feels like proof that something is wrong with you. The day stops feeling hostile, even when it is difficult. The mind craves predictability. When it doesn't have it, it creates anxiety. By setting expectations in the morning, you give your mind a framework. You tell it, this is what the day may contain, and I am capable of facing it. That reassurance settles you faster than any motivational speech ever could. This habit also shortens emotional recovery time. When something goes wrong, you don't spiral as long. You don't rehearse imaginary arguments or replay disappointments for hours. You notice the emotion, acknowledge it, and return to your chosen posture. That alone can feel like a miracle to someone used to being dragged by their thoughts. Seneca wrote that we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Most pain is amplified by resistance, by wishing things were different than they are. When you begin the day grounded, imagination loses its grip. You stop catastrophizing, you stop dramatizing, you stay where your power is. This is why people say the habit changes their life overnight. The events don't change, the workload doesn't disappear, people don't suddenly become kinder. But you stop leaking energy into resentment, fear, and self-pity. You reclaim hours of mental clarity without adding a single task. The habit also creates momentum. When you start the day with intention, small disciplined actions feel natural instead of forced. You follow through more easily. You hesitate less. You trust your decisions because they come from clarity, not emotion. Over time, this compounds into something deeper than productivity. It becomes an identity. You no longer see yourself as someone trying to be calm, focused, or resilient. You see yourself as someone who already is. And when that shift happens, life doesn't feel easier. It feels lighter. Not because the weight is gone, but because you are finally carrying it correctly. Part 5. How to practice the habit without overthinking. This habit works only when it is simple enough to survive real life. The moment it becomes complicated, motivational, or performative, it collapses. Stoicism was never about elaborate rituals. It was about what you could do consistently, even on difficult days. The practice begins before the world enters your mind, before checking your phone, before engaging with news, messages, or other people's priorities. You create a brief moment of separation, not to escape reality, but to meet it on your terms. Even one quiet minute is enough if it is intentional. Sit or stand still. No special posture, no perfect breathing technique. Stillness matters more than form. The body settles first, then the mind follows. This pause signals that the day has not claimed you yet. Then you speak, either out loud or internally, 3 clear statements. Not rushed, not emotional, just precise. First, you acknowledge what is outside your control. Today may include inconvenience, misunderstanding, disrespect, delay, or discomfort. You do not complain about these things. You name them. By doing so, you remove their power to surprise you later. The mind relaxes when it knows what to expect. Second, you name what remains fully yours. Your actions, your effort, your attention, your response. No one can take these unless you give them away. This reminder restores your center. It brings your focus back to where your influence actually exists. Third, you choose the quality of character you will practice today, not 10 qualities. 1. Discipline, patience, courage, self-respect. You decide in advance how you will act when pressure appears. This choice becomes your anchor when temptation or frustration arrives. This entire process takes less than 2 minutes. That is not a weakness. That is the reason it works. Most people fail at habits because they try to change their lives all at once. Stoic practice is different. It changes how you meet the next moment, then the next, then the next. Over time, this compounds quietly into strength. There is no need to feel inspired. Some mornings you will feel calm, others you will feel tired, irritated, or distracted. The habit is not dependent on mood. You do it precisely because moods change. Do not journal excessively. Do not analyze your thoughts. Do not try to feel a certain way. This is not therapy. It is leadership. You are not asking your mind how it feels. You're telling it what matters. On difficult mornings, the habit matters most. When you are tired, discouraged, or emotionally heavy, this brief command creates structure where chaos would otherwise grow. Even if the rest of the day goes poorly, you will know you did not abandon yourself at the start. If you miss a day, you do not punish yourself. You return the next morning. Stoicism does not reward guilt. It rewards consistency. This habit is small, quiet, and almost invisible to others. Yet it changes how you walk into conversations, how you handle setbacks, and how you carry yourself under pressure. You stop drifting. You stop negotiating with resistance. Each morning, you reclaim your position. And that is how real discipline is built. Part 6. The mistakes that quietly destroy. This habit. The most common way people fail with this habit is by turning it into something it was never meant to be. They try to make it inspiring instead of grounding. They look for an emotional lift instead of mental order. And when that feeling doesn't arrive, they assume the habit isn't working. Stoic practice was never designed to make you feel good at the moment. It was designed to make you steady. One mistake is treating the habit like motivation. People expect to feel energized, confident, or calm immediately after doing it. When the morning still feels heavy, they abandon the practice. But the purpose is not to change how you feel. It is to change how you respond. Emotional clarity often comes later, after action has already taken place. Another mistake is inconsistency disguised as flexibility. Skipping days becomes easy because the habit feels small. You tell yourself you will return to it tomorrow. But Stoic discipline is built through repetition, not intensity. The habit works because it becomes automatic, not because it is powerful once in a while. Some people overcomplicate it. They add journaling prompts, breathing routines, long reflections, or inspirational reading. These additions are not wrong, but they are unnecessary. Complexity increases friction. Friction kills consistency. The Stoics valued simplicity because it survives stress. There is also the mistake of performing the habit instead of embodying it, saying the words without meaning them, rushing through the process just to check it off. When that happens, the habit becomes empty. The words must be spoken with awareness, not urgency. This takes honesty, not effort. Another quiet error is using the habit to avoid discomfort instead of preparing for it. You are not commanding your mind so the day will be easier. You are commanding it so you will not collapse when it isn't. When you use the habit as an escape from difficulty, it loses its strength. Some people stop practicing once life improves. When things feel stable, they assume the habit is no longer needed. This is backwards. Stoic habits are not emergency tools. They are foundations. You practice them most when life is calm, so they are strong when life is not. There is also the temptation to judge yourself harshly when you fail to live up to a morning intention. You choose patience, then lose it. You choose discipline, then hesitate. This is not a reason to quit. It is the entire point of the practice. Awareness comes before mastery. Stoicism does not demand perfection. It demands a return. Each time you notice yourself drifting, reacting, or slipping into old patterns, you're given another chance to realign. The habit is not about winning the day. It is about staying oriented toward your values. Finally, many people expect visible results too quickly. They want external proof that the habit is working. More success, more respect, more control over others. Stoicism does not promise those things. It promises something quieter but more durable. Inner order. When practiced correctly, this habit makes you less reactive, more deliberate, and harder to shake. These changes are subtle at first. Others may not notice, but you will. You will feel the difference in how quickly you recover, how clearly you think, and how rarely you abandon yourself. Avoid these mistakes, and the habit will stay alive, not as a routine, but as a way of standing in the world. Part 7. The 7-Day Stoic Challenge that rewires your inner posture. This habit reveals its real power when it is practiced consistently, not intellectually admired. That is why the Stoics believed philosophy must be lived daily, not understood once. To bring this habit out of theory and into your body, commit to a simple 7-day challenge. Nothing dramatic, nothing overwhelming, just repetition with awareness. For the next 7 mornings, you begin the day the same way. Before your phone, before conversation, before noise. You pause, steady yourself, and issue the same 3 commands to your mind. You expect difficulty. You reclaim what is in your control. You choose one virtue to practice that day. That is all. On day 1, choose discipline. Notice how often comfort asks for permission. Observe how quickly the mind looks for shortcuts. You're not here to fight it aggressively. You're here to notice and choose anyway. On day 2, choose patience. Pay attention to irritation, traffic, delays, other people's behavior. Instead of reacting, feel the tension and let it pass through without action. This alone will reveal how much energy you normally waste. On day 3, choose courage. Not loud courage, but quiet courage. Speaking honestly, holding a boundary. Doing the uncomfortable task you keep postponing. Courage grows when it is practiced in small, controlled doses. On day 4, choose temperance. Watch impulses closely. Eating, scrolling, speaking, spending. You don't need to suppress desire. You need to slow it down enough to decide. On day 5, choose justice. Treat others fairly, even when it costs you convenience. Notice how differently you move through the world when integrity leads instead of advantage. On day 6, choose wisdom. Pause before reacting. Ask yourself what truly matters in the long run. Let fewer things earn your emotional response. On day 7, choose self-respect. Act in ways that make you trust yourself more by the end of the day than at the beginning. Each evening, reflect briefly, not to judge, not to criticize. Simply ask whether you acted in alignment with the person you declared yourself to be that morning. Awareness completes the cycle. During these 7 days, do not expect perfection. You will slip. You will forget. You will react. That does not invalidate the practice. It strengthens it. Each return to intention builds inner muscle. By the end of the week, nothing external may look different. Your schedule may be the same. Your challenges may still be there, but internally, something will have shifted. You will feel less rushed by emotion, less pulled by noise, more grounded in yourself. That is the Stoic transformation. Quiet, internal, durable. You do not change your life by forcing outcomes. You change it by choosing who you are every morning before the world asks. And once that habit is established, it does not leave you. It becomes how you live. You don't change your life by chasing better circumstances. You change it by changing how you meet each day. In this video, you've seen how one simple Stoic habit, commanding your mind each morning, restores clarity, control, and inner order. You learned why most people stay stuck in reaction, how the Stoics prepared for difficulty instead of hoping it away, what to say to yourself at the start of the day, and how a few quiet minutes can shift your entire inner posture. This habit doesn't remove struggle, but it makes you resilient inside it. Now the real work begins with practice. Tomorrow morning, before the world reaches you, take those 2 minutes. Expect difficulty. Reclaim what is in your control. Choose who you will be. Do it consistently, even when you don't feel like it, especially then. Thank you for spending this time with me and choosing depth over distraction. If this resonated with you, commit to the practice and share your experience. I'll see you in the next video.